The XFL Gambling Podcast Championship Game Preview and Picks episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network's brought to you by Shady Rays. Yes, SGPN is teaming up with Shady Rays for good old Shady May. Get 50% off your Shady Rays using the promo code SGPN. And then go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/shady for your chance to win $500. We're also brought to you by the SGPN merch store, just in time for summer, really. And look, I'm out here in South America wearing some mesh shorts, and now we've got some SGPN mesh shorts going. Come on, check them out at the SGPN store. Use the promo code SHORTS at checkout and get 10% off. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
This is Brian Bosworth, a.k.a. The Boz, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, brother. Peace out. Boz out.
Is this or is this not the XFL? Yes, it is. Do I not currently have a pulse? Yes, I do. Let's play football.
Welcome to the XFL Gambling Podcast. Oh boy, championship game preview, picks, DFS, all that good stuff. And look, if you're wondering just who the hell you're listening to, well, my name is Colby Swinging Database Dan, a.k.a. Rum Dundee, baby. And yeah.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
And you're nothing but a chameleon, lemon-headed, coward, terrorist pussy. And I'm after you, buddy. You're going to pay for it. Good night.
Oh, look at this fucking show. We got Rum Dundee.
Yes.
You're watching on YouTube, youtube.com, XFL Gambling Podcast. You got a fucking cowboy here. You got a guy Yaddle Man. I am joined by my co-host, host of the Bottom Line Bomb podcast, which you should be subscribed to. They call him the man in the box. And, well, he's
the kind of guy that would drink a gallon of gasoline so he could piss in your campfire. You could drop this guy off at the Arctic Circle wearing a pair of bikini underwear without his toothbrush, and tomorrow afternoon he's going to show up at your poolside with $1 million smile and a fistful of pesos.
I give you C.J. Sullivan. How you doing, brother?
Great. Glad to be back. Missed the show from last week. I feel a little underdressed here. I mean, everyone's got the outfit for the championship game. I feel jealous, but all I brought was this horrendous energy drink. I got the new
Ghost? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I get whatever's on sale at the Ralph's there, and I'll try it out for anyone for $250. And this one is absolutely horrible. So I don't mind putting their company on blast right off top for the XFL Championship game. But other than that, great to be back with everyone fully dressed, and great to see you, Cartel Colby, coming in from Colombia.
Yeah, buddy. Cartel Colby here. Enjoying my time in this fantastic jungle. I shit you not, I did have a parrot on my shoulder at one point this trip.
Yes.
We are joined by this man.
Can
he
picks?
last 8 seconds on the old cowboy on the old cow is the question. The bull, whatever the fuck. Give it up for the host of the Old Fashioned Football Podcast, which you should be subscribed to. The host of the NFL Gambling Podcast. And a guy that needs to tell us a fucking story. Give it up for J-Mark, a.k.a. Justin Mark, because I'm a bit shocked to see. What, did you go see Hall & Oates last night? What happened?
Well, I put this on just to fuck with you guys, and then CJ's like, the game's in the Alamo Dome. You got to keep it on.
Yes, keep it on for
I rolled with
championship game. Absolutely.
Yep, I rolled with it and kept it on.
It is. It's in the Alamo Dome. Big time. It's the $1 million game. You put on $1 million gallon hat. That's what
I've
you
been
do.
watching a little bit too much reruns of Yellowstone, but
Getting ready for that final season coming up.
The show or like the documentaries on National Geographic?
The show.
Oh, okay. I like the I'm more of the documentary guy.
Yes.
But shout out to Derek Knoppinger.
Yeah.
Says, love the show. I tune in every week and I listen while I'm driving. 1 star for sure, baby.
I love it.
Let's talk about that, guys.
Yeah. I want to know, by the way, did that parrot give you any picks? That's a big thing right now. We can get viral with that. If you got an animal to do picks, you got a Colombian parrot. I mean, I bet you can set something up, put a bowl there, it'll fly too, you know?
That makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think I could still arrange that too.
Parrots are very intelligent. They're arrogant though. They wouldn't be such assholes if they tasted better. That's what I always say about parrots.
I've been known to be arrogant. Rum Dundee's been known to be arrogant. So, guys, let's talk a little bit. What do you like? Do you like the 2-week break on this game or not?
No, of course not. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I don't. Have they even explained what it's for? Is it for getting arrangements and tickets so they could paint the damn dome? Like, what do they do? Is this the only time they could have rent the dome out? Was there a rodeo in town or something?
That's a question for J-Mark, apparently. But no. It's a fair question because someone had recently. I shared this tweet at the Colby D on Twitter, and so I subtweeted on top of it because someone had brought up the point that the NFL's first Super Bowl, no one showed up, and I knew that personally because I used to bartend with a guy that was pretty fresh from Mexico. He was in his 90s, but he was fresh from Mexico back at Super Bowl I, and he was promised, good money to bartend Super Bowl I, and it's hilarious because he's still pissed about the fact that no one showed up to the game, right? He was like, they told me I was making good money, and no one fucking showed up at that thing. Right. And guys, why wouldn't you just give away free tickets for the whole game for number one? Wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not gonna look good, right? Especially putting it in the
why are you playing at that stadium? I mean, my opinion on domes. Domes are terrible. They're bad for sporting events, in my opinion. But but I'm talking about. Is everyone going to show up to this? I mean, is The Rock going to do a premiere there or something? I don't understand why you wouldn't choose a smaller venue or just give away all your tickets for free for this game particularly.
Yeah, that is questionable. Why would they? I mean, you can't obviously have it in Audi, but yeah, they should have a more of an intimate kind of a sandlot situation there. What are they charging for tickets? Did we figure that out?
I don't know, but Frisco, Texas, does the FCS National Championship every year. That's where they should have played it.
Mm-hmm.
J-Mark, what do you make of my comments and your opinion on everything?
No, I agree with you. And I saw some news stories saying that people going should expect delays in the traffic and whatnot. That's really just to raise awareness that it's actually happening, right? They're just trying to tell the locals, by the way, something is going on. You guys should get down there.
Might be traffic at what? The Bud Light stand or something. Actually, it's not Bud Light. But I don't know. I just feel like I don't understand why they waited a week. You saw the XFL kind of crushed it. I'm sorry, the USFL crushed it on the TV ratings this past week. Seems like you lost a little bit of momentum, in my opinion. But we're going to get to talking about the game more and more. But before we do that, I want to tell you that the USFL Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Shady Rays and Shady May, baby. Look, Shady Rays is teaming up with us. Yes, SGPN for Shady May. Not only do you get an amazing 50% off everything, but you also get a chance to win $500 of cold, hard cash, baby. Shady Rays has you covered from the sun to the slopes with premium polarized shades, customizable snow goggles, and much, much more. Look, and Shady Rays has got durable frames. That's what everyone always says. My dad wore glasses for fucking 50 years. He always wanted those durable frames, all right? They wanted the extremely clear optics, and that's what Shady Rays has for all those outdoor adventures. And that's not all. Shady Rays offers the most insane eye protection in all of eyewear. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost and broken replacements. So, yeah, if you happen to be at the Alamo Dome, and you're waiting to get a cold one, creating your own little beer snake, perhaps. And I don't know, maybe the person next to you is an asshole. And, you get exchange some words, and next thing you know, he throws his drink on you. So, you punch him in the face. One of his friends punches you in the face. Your shady rays are broken. I know, look, Colby, this game's in a dome. It's 2023. Plenty of people wear fucking sunglasses inside. They're all terrible. But if you're one of those terrible people, don't panic, because you can get a brand new pair of shady rays. All right. Then the next thing all right. They're not even going to ask questions. All right. You just say, hey, broke my pair of glasses. No questions asked. Boom. They're going to give you a new Shady Rays, so you can wear your Shady Rays with confidence because they have your back long after your purchase. If you don't love them, you can also exchange them for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. And bonus for our international listeners, Shady Rays has you covered as well with shipping to Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the good old United Kingdom. I know we got some Canadian listeners, so hop on over there. Go to ShadyRays.com. Use that promo code SGPN for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. Then take that receipt over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/shady for your chance to win $500 in the Shady May contest. We're also brought to you by SGPN Shorts. Yes, you already got your shades. Now it's time to get a great pair of mesh shorts for the summer. Look, I'm in Colombia. It's absolutely hot as shit right now. My balls are sweating just every second of the day. All right, the houses here don't have air conditioning. You're just sitting here. You think Miami's bad. It's like Miami times 1,000. I'm close, I'm close to the equator. It's just, you need to be wearing mesh shorts all the time. SGPN has dropped a brand new line of mesh shorts, perfect for any summer activity. That's what's great about mesh shorts. Doesn't matter if you're just meeting up with the gal to have sex. Boom, mesh shorts. All right, yeah, just gonna go play some golf. Boom, mesh shorts if they let you. That's one of those things. I kind of hate golf, actually, because they don't let you do that. But anyway, head over to store.sportsgamblingpodcast.com. Use the code SHORTS for 10% off. And, remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
Wow. All right. That was great. That was a great read. Versatile shorts. I mean, sex and golf. And then everything was just coming together. It was amazing. And I like how you told the terrible people to wear sunglasses indoors. It's not too late.
Yeah,
not to worry.
Not
only will you get a new pair of glasses, you can go to therapy or something and fix yourself and become a normal person.
What's your stance on sunglasses indoors, CJ?
Sunglasses indoors, and you're not blind, or they're not
blind, or not Jim McMahon. Jim McMahon gets a pass.
I was just gonna say, they didn't jam a fork in her eyeball like Jim McMahon did as a child.
He gets a pass. If you do that, then
right.
You've proven that you're worthy of sunglasses indoors.
And they're not in a high stakes poker tournament.
Yeah, that's true too.
Well, then I'm going to say, terrible person.
Okay, and J Mark, how do you feel about mesh shorts?
Well, I learned too much about your balls right now, so I'm trying to get past that. I don't want to think about it.
That's true. That's very true. You did learn too much about my balls, but look, you got a cowboy hat on. You've been used to hopping on old bulls with their balls all tied up and stuff. So. All right, let's get to this game. Because, first off, do you trust the injury reports? CJ.
Yeah, I trust it when J Mark tells it to me. What are they saying there on Smith? I thought they had an injury on him.
Yeah, he didn't practice for 2 days or something. Blah, blah, blah.
I'm not buying anything. You're taking 2 weeks off for this. It's the XFL Championship. It's the $1 million game, for crying out loud. They called off their shift at Safeway, their managers. They got the weekend off. They're working. They got a sitter. They're showing up to the goddamn game.
I even saw Vic Bolden. Probably.
Yeah,
probable.
Probable. Right? I mean, anything is probable if Vic Bolden's probable.
I would say the chances of this being a true sellout, doubtful.
Yeah, I'm looking at tickets now. You get them cheap as 25, average is 35, 45 for some premiums down low. So,
ooh,
I'll take that. It's not a bad day. Then you get a beer snake in there,
Yeah, it's true. I just don't like the indoor factor when I go watch my sports, CJ. You know this. All right. Hate to beat a dead horse here. But Nick Fortune says, who's the new Cowboy host?
Yeah.
J-Mark, injury reports. They meaning anything to you much? You putting much merit into them?
No, I haven't put much merit into them all year. So,
Right.
Yeah, I don't think you can trust them. Everybody that is of consequence, I think will be good to go.
All right.
Also got to remember, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm fairly certain if you win this, you get a $10,000 bonus per player, correct?
I think that, and you get free tickets to Jungle Book, or not Jungle Book.
Mona, the live reenactment of Mona.
Jumanji.
So these guys are playing for their families. You know, this can be an important game. $10,000 and tickets to a movie.
Gotta love that. Tickets to a movie might be a little bit better. Guys, these two teams met before. If we go back to I believe it was week 8? No,
week 9 just happened. Yep.
28-26. Now I know we have our conspiracy theorists or non, our haters that are not buying into our conspiracy that got the Renegades to the $1 million game, but
right.
Hey, that was a 2-point game, and Luis Perez threw for 335. I mean, hard to beat a team twice, hard to beat a team 3 times. That's what they say. The line that I'm currently seeing is Defenders -6.5, the over-under at 48, and the Renegades +225 on the money line. I mean, I know I have a future of the Defenders, CJ. I know you do too, but I also have a future of the Arlington Renegades and the rest of the league. But, I mean, you got to play Arlington. I was curious. I was looking at where the money was. What was it? 2 nights ago, and it's all coming in on DC, or it was then.
Yeah.
I mean, hammer the fuck out of Arlington. Give me that +225 money line. J-Mark, what are you doing here?
You think I'm wearing a cowboy hat and picking the Defenders? Come on. This is my Renegade hat.
City. Yeah. It's your Renegade hat. You got to ride it, right? The league, they conspired to make the Renegades a champion in my mind. And why would you? I mean, it's juicy. If all the money is on DC too, look, this league makes sense because the owners can probably gamble on this shit. So why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you just say, oh, if we're a little in the red, let's put it all. Let's make sure our Renegades come in after we gave them their whole fucking team. CJ, what are you doing?
Well, as you know, day 1, show number 1 of the XFL season, I announced DC as my champion, my future, 750. They were picked last. I've rode them every week of the season. And I have no future on Arlington, even though that would have been nice to grab a 10-1. I was too heavy on San Antonio, 50-1. And hedging is for gardeners. I am doubling down on DC. I don't understand this Arlington love. I mean, yeah, it's hard to beat a team twice. Let me tell you something. Jordan Ta'amu has the DC Defenders have beaten Perez already 3 times this year. They beat him twice when he was quarterback for Vegas. They quarterback once for Arlington. This is going to be the 4th time. He started 8 games and half of them are against DC. And I don't know. I mean, I'm a little disappointed in slap in the face of Coach of the Year, Reggie Barlow. He already said this will count more to him than the Super Bowl of 2002 with Tampa Bay. Fuck that pussy league, that championship. This one matters.
It does matter.
It does. He put this team together, and I just don't. What I do is, and I get the point. I get 6.5 is a nice number, and listen, we're all on board with Arlington changing with Perez at quarterback, but we're overvaluing Perez a little bit just because they beat up on a terrible Houston team that you pointed out from day one. Colby, this Houston team was a fraud. We were on Arlington beating them. That's right, but they haven't won 2 games in a row all year, and they're on 4 actual wins
But
We're
when the
against-
league conspires, it's like the book The Alchemist, right? When
They just
whole
wanted to
world
get him. They just
conspires-
wanted to get him there. DC is a story. Beer Snake's a story. The Lemons. I'm not afraid of the 6.5. I think they roll this thing. And even that game that went into overtime in week 9, they had to score 17 fourth quarter points, including that 4th and 15 onside kick rule that you love so much that got him back there. And God bless him and Perez and all those guys, but like. I don't know. This is DC's season. This is going to be the culmination. It's going to be a party. Their offense hasn't been stopped since week 2. They only scored less than 28 points. I think it's like the first 2 games with the one, the Danucci opener night versus rain, and then that fucking Notre Dame scissor lift game in Vegas week 2 when they had a kid there. Other than that, I mean, they just been pouring it on, and I don't see them being stopped on
Wow.
Saturday.
Wow. So just that confident.
I love it. I'm doubling down on my future and pouring more on.
I do respect that.
Here's the key to the game for me. It's if Luis Perez can handle the pressure from DC, because he's not a super mobile guy. And we know Greg Williams is going to blitz the shit out of him. But that DC defense,
he's bringing hell,
has gotten worse.
Yeah.
They, on the whole season, they averaged 23.7 points per game, but the last 5 games, 28.5. They got worse by 5 points per game. That's what concerns me with DC. That's why I think Arlington's going to be able to keep this close.
Can't deny that, but I'll tell you what, if he blitzed up the Danucci, and gave him all those problems, give Greg 2 weeks, and what's he going to do with Luis Perez for the 4th time this year?
I was about to say that, though, with 2 weeks of prep, I also think the Renegades might be able to shut down that little cha-cha-cha offense.
With who?
They got a good defense, man. They've had a good defense.
I know. They have had a solid defense, and they've always been in games. I'll give Arlington that.
And don't forget, Vic Bolden was the MVP of the Freedom Cup in the USFL.
Mm-hmm.
Could he be MVP in this one?
And Stoops is he's a big game coach. He's 3-0 in the Alamo Dome. Speaking of J Mark's hat.
I like that. Great nugget there. And look, I saw that the NFL is still trying to make this whole Commanders Cowboys thing a
right.
No, it was Redskins Cowboys. You fucking ruined it. Fuck you, NFL. The NFL schedule just came out Thursday, Thanksgiving Thursday. We're gonna have Commanders Cowboys. No one gives a shit. I grew up in DC. Give me the real Dallas DC rivalry. Defenders and the Renegades, baby.
I love it.
Yeah. Let's go.
Stoops just did he coach? Was it 2021? He coached the when they beat Oregon, the Alamo Bowl in the Alamo Dome.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, he had Caleb Williams as his quarterback then, but he's a big game coach here. They beat Missouri when they were number 1 in the country in that same dome in the Big 12 championship game, if I recall.
Yeah. Nice.
This is all arguments for your point. I'm fighting both sides for you guys.
Right.
But
Renegades defense allowing average of 18.6 points per game throughout the season, 10 points less than DC's.
Well, we all know what side of the division they came from, though, as
That's
well.
true.
I mean, look at their
very true. Yeah.
Although Quentin Storm and Dormady Beach, baby.
Yeah, they did sweep them.
They're still number 1 in my power rankings. The
Orlando 5 turnovers.
Orlando Guardians still number 1 in my power rankings. And shout out to Kathy Mark, NFL Black Friday. Bad. That is college football day. Thank you so much. And look, Kathy, I appreciate the Iowa-Nebraska reference, but I'm a Colorado guy. I want Colorado-Nebraska on Black Friday.
Well,
but,
I have a feeling Kathy Mark might have a little affiliation with some of the hosts here and Iowa. She says Iowa versus Corn Suckers. She means Corn Huskers. That's the Black Friday game in the battle for corn. It's all in the soil, Kathy. We know you can't beat that Iowa soil. The N stands for knowledge with Nebraska. We get it.
That's a Bill McCartney line, baby. You're using Colorado shtick here.
I love it.
All right, look, folks, before we get to talking about the total, I want to tell you that, the XFL Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Talkify. Life's full of what ifs, like maybe the biggest what if for you would be trying something new when it comes to dating. Because, what does Einstein say about doing the same thing over and over? It's, I don't know, the definition of insanity, I think he said. And I honestly believe that's how winning does. And I think you'll see if you were to ask Greg Williams and Reggie Barlow, or whoever, that if they failed one week, would they stick to the same game plan the next week? No, they would not. I think anyone would tell you that. And I think any successful people, for the most part, unless you're a trust fund, you have to adapt. You have to adapt to what, this didn't work. Let me try to tweak a few things. So maybe you're having a hard time meeting great people. Well, stop trying the same methods over and over. Old Linda at the bowling alley isn't interested. All right. So it's time to say goodbye to swiping and bring back the human touch to dating with Talkify. They say confidence is key when it comes to dating. But if you struggle to find worthwhile connections, it can be difficult, to feel your best, essentially, when meeting new people. With Talkify, you can feel confident that you're meeting someone special because they were picked exactly for you. Yes, modern matchmaking service, and it's designed to help you achieve relationship success. Their trusted compatibility specialist hand selects successful and compelling candidates, so you can date consciously and productively. And here's how it works, folks. They got matchmakers. The Talkify matchmakers are going to meet with you. They're going to learn about what you're looking for in a partner. Then they're going to select and screen potential match candidates for you. They're going to do background checks, make sure old Rebecca wasn't part of the Al-Qaeda, right? They're going to do video interviews. They're going to, ask all the tough questions that are maybe a little too awkward for the first date. From there, your matchmaker plans your first date, plans everything, introductions, all communications for you. And they create a safe and stress-free dating experience. Talkify is committed to finding your match. 80% of clients met their person within first 12 matches. And right now, Talkify is offering our listeners 20% off when you become a client at Talkify.com/SGPN. That's TAWKIFY.com/SGPN for 20% off when you become a client. Talkify.com/SGPN. Try something new. All right, we are back on the XFL Gambling Podcast.
Amazing. Try something new. In case the mesh shorts routine didn't work from last break. Get on Talkify.
Exactly what I was thinking.
You go on the date with the mesh shorts. I say when it's already established.
You did say it's easy access. I got it.
Well, when it's already established, you're just good. All right, you're just. I know her parents might not like it when you're showing up for Thanksgiving dinner wearing some SGPN mesh shorts, but don't worry about it. All right, you're winning in life.
She'll appreciate the convenience.
Kathy says we could have Nebraska back. We're tired of playing them. There we go. Please look, Iowa. I know Iowa State would be great to end the season, but since I know it's the Iowa State Fair, we won't move that. But I'm proposing Michigan State. J Mark, you're an Iowa guy.
Yeah.
Before we talk about the rest of this XFL game, how would you like that Michigan State Iowa matchup?
Well, the traveling to Michigan State when it's there will be a little farther than going to Lincoln, but Lincoln also roofied me last time I was there at the game. So
what?
Is that how you got the cowboy hat?
Yeah, that's exactly how it happened. I just woke up with it. Just it.
They slipped a Mickey in your whiskey. What happened there? What are you talking about?
Yeah, no. I got a buddy who's a bartender who knows 8 different Iowa fans now who have been at the Lincoln Stadium there that have gotten roofied. I don't know. Really? They look for Hawkeye fans or whatever, but I was actually passing out SGP lighters and I had a open cup because I had whiskey, not a beer. Lesson learned. I'm just drinking beer from now on. But yeah, I remember specifically one guy kind of reached over my cup to grab a lighter, but then gave it to the person in front of me. And I thought that was kind of weird at the time. And then weeks and weeks later, I put together, I was like, I bet that's when it happened.
You know, I've been to that stadium in Lincoln as well. And I have passed out many liquor bottles promoting SGPN at like probably 50 stadiums, whether football, basketball, or baseball. That is the one spot where they didn't trust me. Everyone, and it's like these are the airport bottles of like Jameson, and they're like, no, and get this. So I had like 200 of them, and then I'm sitting there like, well, the game's starting. They're not gonna let me bring it in, so I put it in an area by the park, like literally like 50 yards from the stadium entrance. And when I came out, they were all there. No one took any. And so I brought them back. I'm like, what is up with this town? Everyone's extremely friendly, but everyone thinks I'm fucking poisoning them or something. I don't know. But then you get poisoned there. I don't know what's happening in Lincoln, Nebraska, but what's happening in San Antonio with the total, guys, because I see this thing at a juicy 48. 48. I think they're going to want high scoring in this game. And look, if they were going to finagle a team to get really good, why wouldn't they spend 2 weeks to finagle a complete script to go over 48 points?
And they hit 54 last time they played.
Yeah, I'm all.
Take it easy though, Colby. The writer's strike is happening here in Hollywood, so they couldn't get the latest script for this championship game out. They might have to improv some of this though.
Yeah, maybe some improv. Greg Williams, I could see him, really going off script and pissing off the whole commish. But guys, you got to play the over though, right? CJ, you're really going over, right?
Got to play the over. DC's just been an auto overplay. Like J Mark said, their defense has gotten way worse as the season projections. Their secondary, but a lot of that is the reason because they've been up so much because their offense has been unstoppable. So it's the perfect formula for an over. You're never out of it. It's in the XFL with the rules or with DC. Like I said before, they've only scored less than 28 points twice, and that was the first 2 games of the season. So they've just been pouring it on. They're going to get over 30 themselves. So you don't need to ask for much from Perez to finish the deal.
Amen. So we're all on the over. We're agreeing way too much.
Yeah, we are agreeing way too much. Real quick, shout out to the latest 5-star review we got. I don't know if you guys saw it, but this game is being renamed to the J-Mark Bowl because of the Tiamo versus Perez.
The Tiamo versus Perez, absolutely. The two quarterbacks you hate so much because they're all Byron Scott.
Let's talk about that because you learned how to podcast on YouTube, correct? And then hold on. So honestly, besides if you were to take the bets away from this, which obviously we're not going to do, but
right,
who would you rather see win, J Mark, as a noted hater of both?
De'Aaron King. That's a tough one. That is a tough one. If I'm putting everything aside, I'm going to go Tamu.
I mean, yeah, he's got a nice plucky career from Hawaii. He's been on 5 different NFL teams, every iteration of XFL and USFL. He's been through the ringer.
2 college teams. He was at Mexico Highlands. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a lifer. He's a grinder. He's on the road, I don't think he's ever won either a championship game. I think he was saying like even in high school, he's been to the championship game. Everybody loses every single time. That's something to throw out there.
That's great for the Arlington backers. Let's go.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. So that's interesting. Guys, I wasn't able to fill out a DFS lineup because but you guys have a DFS lineup, correct?
I do. Yep, and I believe we do. And if you want to name some players, we can help you out there, Colby. We can just tell you what it is. I mean, obviously just a 1 game to play.
Well, I'm going to line up with Luis Perez because, I am riding the Renegades. Look, I'm a DC guy, too. I just think that there's way too many points here with the 6.5. I also think you play the money line with the Renegades. If you're going to play it, actually play it on the money line. Do we actually think this will be a pro Arlington crowd?
I mean, yeah, I think it'll be mixed. I think for sure. You never know. I mean, obviously it's Texas, it's a factor in there, but I think DC will travel out. I think they'll be small, but I think DC fans will be mighty there.
J-Mark?
It should be a pro Arlington crowd, right? But those fan bases haven't shown a lot of passion. So
I thought things were bigger in Texas.
Right? Yeah. Good point. I mean,
the empty seats will be bigger. That's for sure.
So what's our quarterback pricing right now? And what are you guys doing at QB? J-Mark, lead the way here.
Yeah, I did take Perez as my captain spot. I wanted to take Tamu because of the rushing ability, but I trust Arlington's defense more than DC, so I think Perez will be able to move the ball on DC.
All right. So Perez is 10,000 normal price. What is he in the captain slot?
15.
15. All right.
And Tamu's 16-2 in the captain spot.
I threw him in the captain spot. It's the most expensive one there is, but he's Tamu. And
let me ask you guys this.
Rushing. Go ahead.
Will Kelly Bryant throw more passes than De'Aaron King?
I like that prop bet.
Who will get more snaps? I wonder too.
Where are you getting? Is this the Columbia Sports Book? You're getting these props because I can't find these on my books for you anyway.
Yeah,
I love those bets.
You gotta take horseback to get there though. But,
I love those bets. Sure.
Yeah. I'm just curious. Who do you guys think though?
Throw more passes or have
snaps.
more plays?
Let's talk snaps first.
Snaps.
Well.
I think Bryant.
Was it Bryant versus King, you said?
Yeah, Kelly Bryant versus De'Aaron King, because Kelly Bryant's kind of came on, he's emerged, and I'm just trying to think about game script.
Yeah.
Who could we not see coming? Could it be Kelly Bryant? Could it be Vic Bolden? De'Aaron King, could he end up,
I can see De'Aaron King getting in there, and I would take De'Aaron King over Bryant in that prop bet, just because he's been a factor all year. They have packages for him, and this is the championship game. They're going to want to show out. This is the ultimate tape they're doing before they go to the next level, even if the next level is a USFL, whatever it is, So, and I think Barlow's going to want to, show him off a little bit, and he's, it's not like he's throwing in there for a charity case. They have real plays for him. In the beginning of the season, he was getting all the touchdowns,
Yeah.
Until Tom just went crazy.
I like the Kelly Bryant angle just because I think that's a great way to try to slow down this blitz. Put in a running quarterback where you can do option plays, read option, all that. I think that's a good way to kind of slow that blitz down and make them think twice about blitzing everybody or going zero blitz or whatever.
Yeah. And J-Mark, are you going Renegades strictly because Bob Stoops played safety for Iowa and Jonathan Hayes, his offensive coordinator, and Chuck Long, all Iowa Hawkeyes on that staff?
I was about to say, don't forget Chuck Long.
Don't ever forget Chuck Long.
That's the reason my parents picked the Renegades as their team in the XFL, but that's not the reason I am picking them in the game.
Okay. I'm picking them because Chuck Long used to coach Tamu, didn't he? In the USFL or whatever the last team was. Didn't Chuck Long coach Tamu? Or they
was he on that staff with Todd Bailey? He might have been.
He was, yeah.
Maybe.
Okay.
Strong things out there.
Well, now, CJ.
Now we got a problem. Now we got a problem.
I just saw that on the soundboard right now.
Yes, I've been waiting. I can't wait for that thing to come back.
Okay, running back. What are you guys doing? You guys got a problem running back? Are you going Abram Smith, the best back in the league? Everyone knows that.
I actually did not. For some reason, I know. Well, here's my thing with Abram Smith. And how much is he, J-Mark?
10,600 in just a normal spot.
Absolutely, and worth it, of course. He led the league in rushing. But versus Arlington, I will say they had their worst game of the season. He only had 27 yards on 10 carries. DC had 50 rushing yards total. And if you look back, to be honest with you, if you look deeper into Abram Smith's numbers, his last 4 games, he hasn't been great. He's been averaging 46 yards a game, 2 fumbles, and 2 touchdowns total in the last 4 games. After having a monstrous first half for season. So I think, and Davion Smith, on the other hand, with Arlington, he's been coming on the last 5 games. He's had 5 touchdowns the last 3 games, so he has 7 total, the ties with Abram Smith. And he's been averaging 4 a carry the last 3 games, only 2.5 the first 5. So he had 94 yards last week or the playoff game, whatever. So I think he's kind of a cheaper option at, was he 8,400, Davion Smith I went with.
Interesting. Do you have Davion Smith, J-Mark, at all? Do you go 2 backs or are you going just 1 back?
Just the 1 back, Abram Smith. I got 2 quarterbacks, though. So who needs 2 running backs when you got 2 quarterbacks?
Yes.
I got Tamu in one of the flex spots for that 10,800.
I actually like that angle on a showdown.
Yeah. I went that as well. Perez and Tamu. Tamu was my captain, Perez in the flex.
Yeah.
All right. Well, how about some other flex guys, J-Mark? Who's your next flex?
I got Javonta Payton, a guy who was not around. Nobody really knew his name until week 11 in the playoff game when he had 34.1 fantasy points, 121 yards, 2 touchdowns. I think they established a good connection, and I expect it to roll into the championship.
He played at Mississippi State for Coach Leach. Obviously, Coach Leach and Stoops have that connection from back in their Oklahoma days. CJ, what was your next or your highest price wideout?
Well, yeah. How much was Peyton? I did take a look at that.
6,000.
6,000 for a guy who came out of nowhere. I don't want to chase those numbers, but I understand why you would. But that's for sure. I'll go cheaper option if you want to go with that. Who for Arlington receiver for 3,000, half the price. I went with Caleb Vanderdersch, who had 7 targets last week, and he didn't have the gaudy production. Sure,
guys,
from the Peyton had, but I mean, 7 targets, 3,000. Come on,
guys, do me a favor. Someone roster Vic Bolden. This is his breakout game. It's his breakout game.
Yeah.
What's that price?
Bolden's
What is Vic
probable.
Bolden's price? He's been injured the past 3 weeks.
$1,000.
1,000.
Load up on him, and then you can play everyone else who's good.
I know. All right, maybe I will, because I have $1,000 player on my roster. Vanderdersch is 3,000, and I have $1,000 running backs instead of Abram Smith. I went with a guy who was signed a week before the playoff game for DC, Cameron Harris, who had 2 touchdowns. 2 touchdowns in the last playoff game, and they got him for $1,000. And just in case Abram Smith is a little worn down from the huge season that he had, this guy's fresh off the streets, and he looked good. He looked spry. He's having 5 yards a pop.
Good. He did look good. Now, did you go with your boy Ethan Wolf too?
Oh man, I wish I had 8 spots in this roster, because I would love to. This is definitely the week. This is definitely obviously the championship game to finally come back with POS Ethan Wolf. And he's my ride or die tight end. But I did not. But 4,000 for those last 2 players combined. That's how you can get a Tamu on your captain spot.
Oh man. So J-Mark, did you bargain shop with like CJ here?
Yeah, I threw a tight end in there. Alex Ellis. He's 2,800. In week 10, he had 4 receptions for 25 yards and 2 touchdowns. He gets involved in the red zone. So thinking of trying to pick up a touchdown or even a 2 3-point conversion, kind of chasing those points.
Nice. So is that how many? Do you guys have one more flex then? Defense? Is that how
I got?
You don't
one
have
more,
to play a
but
defense, but I do have one more, and I think we all do, right? I mean, we all do.
Yeah.
Me and Jay Mark.
All
You
two
know,
of
you-
us.
Drop it in, you prick bastard, right?
Right. The way they set it up, you can play defense. It's 1 captain and 5 flexes, basically, for 6 total. So if you want to throw defense in, and I thought about it, but no, that's no fun. I wouldn't go over. My high play player is Lucky Jackson, DC. Just didn't connect to him. I got 9,600, but he's been the man all year. There's a lot of good DC receivers. You could go with Blair for 8,200 is also very good, but I mean, Lucky Jackson, they just use him in so many ways. Championship game, they're gonna utilize him, and he should be. I'll be disappointed if Lucky Jackson's not on an NFL roster next year.
Oh, for sure. I mean, and look, with the Sports Gambling Podcast, you gotta ride a guy named Lucky. Is he on your roster, J-Mark?
He's not. With Perez, Tamu, and Abram Smith, I was very short on cash. So I went with the defense that's forced the most fumbles, the Renegades, thinking they can get some sacks, get some forced fumbles, especially with – I threw Abram Smith in there, but he's had a little fumble problem the past couple weeks, so maybe I can capitalize on that. If he loses points with the fumbles, my defense gains them.
Nice, but Vic Bolden's cheaper, which is what you should do.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue.
Guys, it was funny. I was at like a party, like for essentially me getting married a couple years ago, and we're at this house. There's 2 pools in this house. It's just like a mansion that you can pay. Just American currency travels so far here, and then so there's like 30 family members at this house, and they're all watching Colombian soccer. And I was the asshole that put it on USFL last week. It took a little doing. I had to bring in the other TV because it was arguing back and forth. I was like, well, I need to watch this. They never heard of the USFL, but it's gonna be interesting to see how this Saturday shakes out. Because I will not be with family. I need to find myself in front of a TV somehow, some way. That's your whole roster, right, guys?
Yeah.
Okay. I see Moneyline Mac in the chat saying your weekly reminder to bring back the Redskins. There we go. Shout out to Moneyline Mac and hail to the Redskins. As they're look, as far as I'm concerned, if DC wins this Super Bowl or this XFL championship, the $1 million game, that's the Redskins winning for me. They're wearing red, baby. Let's go. Anything else we want to say? How about this? Highlighting this game. You look back at the last time these two teams met. I think third down, obviously it always plays a big role in football in general, but DC completed 63% of their third downs. Meanwhile, Arlington, 27. That number stood out to me when number crunching this game. Arlington had 29 first downs. DC had 22. Arlington had 120 more yards of offense, but still couldn't get off. Couldn't get DC off the field when they needed to. And that's why DC won the game. What do you guys think will happen here?
Well, so as far as third down goes, listen.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if anything happened in this game except for Arlington winning. But
what do you think the keys are for Arlington winning?
For Arlington winning, they're going to have to sustain some long drives. I think they can't as good as Perez has helped to jolt their offense, but their game is their defense. They're so dumb. I mean, Devontae Smith with 25 carries. I want something more like that if I were with him, and just longer and longer drives, and just try to keep the ball away from him. Because if you start getting behind and getting the shootout with them, I mean, DC's a machine. Once they start rolling like that, you don't want to be in front of it.
Could Sal Cannella be an X factor? Absolutely.
That's what I'm talking about. Sal Cannella's, you're running back, Devontae Smith, just you're inside the hash marks, if you will. Keep the pace out of something you could manage.
J Mark, what do you think the key is for the Washington Redskins to win the $1 million game?
Yeah, real quick, the third down talk. DC had the fewest third down conversions all year, but they also had the fewest attempts because their offense is so efficient.
They pick it up on first down. That's why.
Right.
They're like, why do we need 3 downs for this? This is ridiculous.
Right. Yeah, I think if DC can limit turnovers because Arlington is good at forcing turnovers, then I think this is their game. I think if they can just move the ball just efficiently, they don't have to light up the scoreboard. They just have to be efficient. And I think that will be enough to beat Arlington.
Guys, I'm going to make a projection here. I think special teams is going to play a big role. I know they've only had one kickoff all year long. Meanwhile, the USFL's 4 weeks in and have 2. I just want to crowbar that in. But clearly they're doing the wrong kickoff here in the XFL. But I think special teams is going to be key. And we saw DC's kicker miss some field goals throughout the season. I think, we might see some missed field goals. We might see Vic Bolden sighting, and maybe he gets a long return. Maybe a block punt. I don't know. Something's going to happen. Special teams going to play the role. Give me the Renegades as the $1 million champs.
Well, I will say this: the Renegades definitely have the advantage in special teams. But as I predicted, if we can get a Colombian sportsbook line on this prop, I want to. If I can get any shares of Puka Williams' first touchdown.
Plus 1,200.
I mean, he's got to be more than that. He gets that opening kickoff, the lawnmower man, 8-toe Puka. He's been looking. He's had a couple good returns actually last couple weeks since they reacquired him. Who knows where he went? I know they said he was on St. Louis. I don't believe it. He's just going through the paperwork. But all of a sudden he's back to returning kicks and he's looked good. He's Puka. So I would love some early Puka opening first touchdown shares.
There we go. I'm excited to watch this game, and hopefully you guys are too. Folks, we appreciate you rocking with us all year. We'll have a reaction show episode coming for you after this weekend. But look, if in the meantime, maybe you're not subscribed. Maybe you're just checking us out for the first time. Subscribe to the XFL Gambling Podcast, obviously on YouTube, but more importantly, where we really get paid is on Spotify or iTunes or wherever you listen to the podcast at. So please, if you can, hop on over there, subscribe, tell a friend. And, we will see who will be the first champion since who was it?
How about some score predictions before we go? For our tout video. I mean, this is what people do, right? The championship game, to do a little final score prediction.
Yeah. J Mark, why don't you lead the way?
Let's go 31-30, Arlington.
Okay.
Woo. I'm trying to think of what was the name of the Los Angeles team that won in year one of the XFL. It was Tommy Maddox was the quarterback. I just don't remember.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't the Wildcats. It was like the Extreme.
Yeah, the LA Extreme, right?
Yeah, LA Extreme got it done against San Francisco.
Weren't they favored by like 30 points or something like that? And they won, but like they pushed
covered it. Yeah,
or something like that.
It's something wild. But I'm gonna go Arlington 35, DC 26.
Just absolute slaps in the face to our DC defender, our DC Redskin defenders, and Reggie Barlow.
What are you doing, buddy?
I'm not even thinking twice. DC 38, Arlington 12.
Woo!
And that second touchdown's a garbage touchdown I'm allowing. That they're going to allow Stoops to get in there. It's a DC party. It's a DC coronation. It's been their season all year, and it's not going to stop them in the championship game. I just knocked something.
There we go. DC getting their first championship since Mark fucking Rippin.
Bring the beer snake home to DC, the skins, the lemons. It's a party.
It is a party. Folks, subscribe to the XFL Gambling Podcast. We appreciate each and every one of you, even the one-star reviews, as we alluded to earlier. Keep them coming. And look, we'll be back in a few days. So until then, this is the XFL Gambling Podcast. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
X marks the spot. X marks the crossroads. Two straight lines crossing over in the middle. That's the letter you must see to find the treasure or the clue, or the X-ray machine that's looking right inside of you. X is the letter without which one could not do. X marks the spot.